This is April Setti on New Jersey Buzz Talk Radio, and we are so excited about our new format. Buzzy B and I are buzzing around the community and getting up close and personal with our community. Today, we thought it would be fun to buzz on over to Screamin Hill Brewery to find out what all the buzz is about. So I want to welcome Brett to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Brett, as I understand, farming, agriculture is basically in your bloodline. So tell our listeners a little bit about the history of your family.
So my family purchased this piece of land in 1860. So my family's been farming here ever since then. I'm the sixth generation on the farm. So I work with my father and my uncle and my mother and my aunt on the farm. We grow a lot of different products on the farm. We have a pretty diverse bit of agriculture that we do. We do cut your own Christmas trees on the farm. We do pick your own pumpkins as well as wholesale pumpkins, and then we grow corn and soybeans. Then we also grow some of our ingredients for the brewery. So we grow hops, we grow malting barley. We have our wheat and rye that we grow on the farm, malted for the beer, and then we also grow some other flavors like habanero peppers and things like that. So farm's been doing a lot of different things over the years, and we're right now sort of switching over to more agritourism type stuff that gets people out onto the farm.
Yeah, actually, travel and tourism is a huge component for New Jersey because we have the Jersey Shores. But one thing that's really kicking up between the wine and all the different breweries that are going on is the agritourism, which is awesome. Yeah. And it also, as a farmer, and this gives you guys another opportunity for revenue. Do you do any haunted houses here?
No, we don't do the haunted stuff. We try to keep our fall thing pretty family friendly. So we're just doing daytime family stuff now. We want that to be pretty based on just our ag products for now, but who knows what we'll do in the future.
I know. So you're keeping it to family and beer. That works.
Yeah, exactly.
So running a farm is a lot of work, and starting something new with any business is a lot of additional work. And it could be relatively risky, not knowing the future, because none of us have a crystal ball. Now, Screamin Hill Brewery, as I understand it, had an aha moment of, oh my gosh, we could grow our own ingredients for beer and process it. Now, are you the first in New Jersey to kick this off?
Yeah, I believe we're the first farm brewery in New Jersey. There's certainly other ones in other parts of the country, but we're the only brewery in New Jersey right now operating on a farm, and certainly the only one growing, most of our own ingredients. Yeah, we're the only ones doing that so far.
So what gave you this aha moment?
So my partners, Ryan Cole and Pat Jones, and I have been homebrewing together for a long time, probably 12 years or so. Starting a brewery was always something we sort of dreamed about, but never too seriously. And then a number of years ago, there were some assemblymen in the state trying to put together a farm brewery license specific for something like this. It never really gained support, never got voted on. But when we heard about it, that's what kind of got the wheels turning and made us think, well, if we can combine it with the farm and grow our own ingredients, then maybe we should actually do this. And then so we started it in January of 2014 was when we actually made the decision to go ahead with it.
So you're like, we brew beer at home and we have a farm, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take for you to come up with your signature beer?
We had a lot of recipes that we'd been brewing over the years, and our flagship is our American wheat beer. We've been brewing that for quite a while. Moving up to this size system, we played with our recipes a little bit, and then we've come up with a lot of new ones since then. But that's kind of the fun of it, is coming up with new recipes and finding new ingredients that we can grow for new beers and stuff like that. That's what's pretty awesome about it.
You just like sampling it.
Exactly.
Okay, Screamin Hill, the name. Where does that come from? How did you guys come up with the name?
So the name Screamin Hill is the story goes that back at the turn of the century, up in the church at the top of the hill that overlooks the farm, there was a pastor. His name was Pastor Coward. He was a local guy who was kind of a hellraiser as a youngster, and then found God, became the pastor of the church up there. And I guess his sermons were really loud and boisterous. You could hear the sermon from a long ways away, and so it became known as Screamin Hill. That was sort of the local name for that hill that overlooks the farm, and so that was my dad's idea for the brewery name when we mentioned the idea to him. So we thought, yeah, that's a great name.
That's awesome, because you're tying in a bit of New Jersey history that a lot of people don't know about, and so it's actually a good story. So you officially opened when?
We opened July 10th of last year, of 2015.
Okay, so you're new.
Yes.
Now, are you harvesting for other breweries at this point?
Not yet. We're still working on getting our brewery ingredient production up to scale. But by the end of this year, we should be growing 90% of our own malt on the farm here. Hops is going to take us a little bit longer. We're sort of testing varieties right now just to see which ones grow well here, so that we didn't steal productive farm ground for something that wasn't going to work. So, and even with the malt, we've been sort of playing with different varieties, trying to find what works for here. So we hope to be able to provide other breweries with ingredients in the next few years, but it's going to take a little while before we can get our production up enough to be able to do that.
All right, curious, how many variations of hops are there?
Oh, there's tons of different varieties of hops. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons we'll probably never be able to produce all of our own hops, because we want to use so many different varieties. That, I mean, right now I think we use 15 or 18 different varieties, and there's just endless varieties of hops. We stick with all American hops, but there's lots of European hops, Australian hops. There's all sorts of different varieties. But right now we're growing 7 different varieties, and we hope to plant out in the next year a larger field of 1 or 2 or 3 varieties that grow really well here, and then we'll keep testing new varieties just to see what works here.
So once you plant the seeds, you get the hops and the wheat, then what's the process? Do they have to be dried out? Like, tell us the process of making it from, I guess, harvest to the bottle.
Yeah, for hops, it actually takes, you plant a rhizome, which is a piece of the root, and it takes 3 years for that to actually produce full production. So once they're ready for harvest, we hand pick them, and then we have to dry them out to a certain moisture content for the hops, and then they get stored in a freezer and are ready for use. A lot of times people want pelletized hops, which is a whole nother process, but for our purposes, we're just going to dry them and use them as whole leaf hops. And then for the malt, we grow wheat, barley, and rye to make malt out of. And right now we're not malting our own barley, so we harvest it, store it in a grain bin for a couple of months, and then we ship it to a malt house in Pennsylvania. They malt it, which is basically a process of seeping and drying and then kilning the grain so that it basically tricks it into germinating so that we can steal sugar from it. So the malt house does that and sends it back to us. And then it's ready to use. So the malt, if we'll harvest all our small grain in June and July, and that'll be ready to brew with by the fall. So there's quite a bit that goes into processing both of them.
Sounds like it. However, it sounds like you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we've done a lot of research and spent a lot of time on this.
I would imagine so. And obviously because it was something you wanted, a new adventure, and you want to make sure you kind of understand all the risk factors. Because now I think New Jersey has 33 breweries now?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number right now, but I know it's growing at a pretty quick rate. There's new breweries coming up all the time. So New Jersey's, it's really becoming a great state for breweries. There's more and more coming up all the time. It's an exciting time for breweries.
It definitely is. And today you can't really say you don't like beer anymore, because there's so many different craft beers that don't even taste like beers for me, because I'm a wine person. Sorry. Okay, so are you now working with any retail establishments or not yet?
We're hoping to start that pretty soon, but we've just been brewing for our tasting room here so far. We're really trying to ramp up production so that we can start selling outside. That's actually something we're planning on doing here in the next few weeks, is going out and getting some wholesale accounts to sell to retailers and restaurants and things. But none of us do this full time, so it's been hard to even find time to brew. But we're finally getting to where we have a pretty good schedule, and we should be able to get out to some accounts pretty soon.
No time to brew. I find that hard to believe. So when do you officially open up for tastings?
We're open Fridays from 3 until 8 and Saturdays from noon to 5 year round. So those are our only hours at this point.
Can people purchase to take home?
Yeah, they can come in and purchase growlers to take beer home. We don't can or bottle anything, but we sell beer to go in growlers. And if you come take a tour of the brewery, then you can sample beers here as well.
So what exciting things do you guys have coming up for the summer? Are you doing any special events?
We do book private events, so we have some people have their own private events coming up, and we also have a members club called the Harvest Club. So we're throwing a pig roast for them in the next few weeks. which should be a really fun time. And we're releasing a new beer that they sort of they gave us a lot of feedback. We asked them what they wanted us to brew for the pig roast. So we're coming out with a new beer. Actually, we're coming out with 2 new beers for that pig roast, which should be a lot of fun. And then we have a lot of other beers that we want to try to come out with for the summer. So yeah, we have a lot we'd like to get done for summer.
I know, it sounds like it, TikTok.
Yeah.
So I want to be part of your club. Is there a membership, like anyone can join?
Yes, anyone can join, but actually right now it's full. So we actually have a waiting list for it at the moment. We kept it limited to a certain amount of people, and I think we've already got a waiting list. So I would imagine the next year we'll have some spots open up.
So what you're saying is at the end of the line. For anyone who wants to experience, this is kind of like farm to table for beer, and it's just adorable, and they have awesome dogs running around because we are here, and there's a little room where you can buy t-shirts and some memorabilia. And just thanks so much for coming onto the show. This has been very instrumental for me to learn about beer. If you're interested in finding more information about Screamin Hill, go to screaminhill.com, and that's Screamin with no G. So it's screaminhill.com. Check it out. There's a list of events if they're having any, and the different types of beers, and how to get here.